Hey guys, StarCraft here, and well, you wanted it. So today we'll be going after and looking over Ronin by Frank Miller. Yep, I got the Absolute Edition. Trust me, for this, it's pretty sweet. Now, the thing about with all this, that this is Frank Miller's first true solo work without even Klaus Janson around to do any inking. This was all purely him with his, I'm not sure if they were married at the time, but definitely his regular co-host and later wife for a while, Lynn Varley. And yeah, this was done in 83, 84. I believe around the time after Dark Knight Returns. And the funny thing about this is that this is Chris Frank. He's always had a love for Japanese anime and the like. He's always had a fascination with, well, a lot of that stuff, you know, especially as he's openly said before, one of his influences, Akira, plus some of the other type of samurai stories. Obviously, with a Ronin. And, well, I'll just say this. I'll go through the first part first, and then let's see if you can recognize something very similar with all this. You'll know it. Anyway, we open up with, well, a young boy being raised with his master to be a samurai, as they're kicking all kinds of ass. Very good artwork. Frank's work. This is one of his best work, and probably I think the best he's, besides Sin City, of course. As far as having a color, this is probably the best he's done solo wise. Because I mean, the point where I wonder how much of Dark Knight Strikes Again was done because of the coloring, the more computerized coloring just didn't work. Because you look at this, there's some elements in his artwork here that kind of reminds me a bit of Dark Knight Strikes Again. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. But we do have and his master is holding a sword that can defeat the shape-changing demon Agat, or Agat. And basically it draws its powers from the blood of evil men, and it protects the bearer of magic. Even Agat is the sword draws his blood from evil men, and of evil men protects the bearer from magic. Even Agat, but it takes the blood of an innocent to make the sword potent enough to destroy the demon. And oh geez, I love this funny bit. Like, I'll have to teach you, yes, as payment for saving my life back there. Serving my lord is its own reward. Were I slain, I would rise from the grave 7 times to defend you and your... Oh, shut up. We then cut to sometime later, no idea how long, but his master's at basically the equivalent of an ancient Japanese strip bar club. And, as a dancer approaches him and basically says, trained in all ways of the night, his master takes her up on his offer. And while all his friends are basically, they laugh and like, and he's basically like, I will not leave my lord unattended. You won't help in the matters, boy, as they drag him out. And he's like, even says, Agat has forces everywhere, or he could be attacked. To which he said, then wait outside, boy, you may learn something. Again, just some of Frank's humor. But as he's staying out there, he then starts hearing his master yell in pain, as all of a sudden, he runs inside and finds out, yep, it was Agat who was the woman, and killed his master. Thus making him now a Ronin, a masterless samurai. Or at least masterless before he can master his ways. And then he fights off Agat, who flees, but then he swears he will then stop him. He will live his life as a Ronin. It was his shame. Now, for a moment, it looks like he's about to commit seppuku for failing his master, but then he decides, no, I won't. As he remembers that, sorry about that, that, he doesn't remember, he gets a message from his master telling him to continue on. We then jump far into the future as this young man named Billy, who is, well, we don't. At first, we just see him talking with this computer named Virgo, as he's watching something on television, and he's just. But then he said he was just daydreaming. He had a vision of a guy. He had a big sword and a monster, and yeah. Then all of a sudden, then when he mentions of a Mr. Learned, and what you have to pay attention, Billy. What would Mr. Learned think of? Oh, speak of the devil. And basically, they're working with this group, the Argus facility and company, led by Learned and Target. We'll get more to them in a minute, but they're basically telling him to get ready. And we then see how Manhattan, New York has been. It's full of, well, obviously it's after the apocalypse. Wars are still going on. Earth is on the brink of Armageddon. And the Aquarius complex, I should say, basically they are trying to do what they can with their biotechnology without making weapons. And okay, look at this image of outside of Manhattan. It will be coming back to this particular shot multiple times. And then we're introduced to and hold on. Learned is showing off to these people from the Showa company. They're a Japanese company. As we are introduced to Cassie McKenna, the head of security at Aquarius, as they're walking through scans that and everything. And we're then introduced with Virgo to and Mr. Taggart, who basically then has them meet up with Billy. And again, as they show Billy using these mechanical, bioelectrical, and biomechanical arms to bend steel, giant steel girders. And at first they're just like, there's nothing special about this, Mr. Learned. Prosthetics, artificial limbs are common and even powerful ones. But then it's revealed these are cybernetics. Turns out Billy doesn't have any limbs whatsoever. He's completely limbless, but with incredible psychic powers. As he basically then is explaining over the Virgo that Mr. Learned is lying to them. Basically, everything he's been able to do was through his powers moving it. They can't make anyone else do it yet. Although Virgo even says that's what they've been trying to do, is study him and figure out, how to use his powers to enhance the machinery. Then afterwards, Billy goes to sleep, and then we just see as we go back to the samurai way back when, as he's defending a family, but on a mother and her child, as he explains everything there and mentions the whole thing about using the blood of an innocent to kill Agate. And for a moment, the woman actually says, like, "No, not my baby. He's not big enough, and you're not innocent enough. Go to sleep." But then all of a sudden, Virgo is talking to Billy, asking him, how do you know all this stuff? Because basically he's been visioning, because she put him to sleep and then looked at his dreams. And is wondering, how do you know all this? But then the Ronin takes out a rat creature. And as he fights it and kills it, and then we get to him shouting out, "Agat!" as he goes in and fights with a gat, using the sword and I'm fighting him. But of course pointing out how you still need an innocent. So what does the samurai do? Stabs himself, since he is innocent, and basically sealing them both away into the sword. Although it even says, like, "My lord Okai and Ozaki, I come to join you at last." Till Agate uses a spell to pull him into the sword with him. And then Billy now is then wondering what about that. He thinks it's a vision of what happened. And as he does, Virgo then explains to them how someone found the sword and then studied it, wondering about its magic. But when they did and they tested a laser on it, it basically exploded, releasing what was inside. And then Billy then sees one of the last visions, recordings of Agat. All of a sudden, Billy just starts freaking out. And as he does, a scar starts to come on his face from the Ronin. It seems to appear to be that Agat has making his way there. Because apparently, as far as what Virgo is able to determine, the Ronin is taken, or Billy's even stated, the Ronin's taken over him, using his powers as again, Agat is just is making his way there. And even Virgo tries to use her and the mechanical arms to stop Agat, as Billy's just further freaking out. But then all of a sudden, everything starts being pulled in towards Billy, forcing him as it's giving him new arms and legs. Agat laughing and chuckling until all of a sudden, then Virgo explodes and causing a huge explosion. Back to that outside shot again, just destroying like a huge hole and everything. Then Agat has survived as he's outside looking on, wondering, like, Agat, you have found a new home. While you are a simple man, and from a simple time, you cannot survive here. Talking towards the Ronin, this world will assault you, torment you, and should it fail to kill you, there will be me, Ronin, ready and waiting. And then we cut into the sewers as the Ronin has come out in this new future time. A future samurai fighting a demon. Yes, yes, yes. I'm aware of the parallels with Samurai Jack. And you think, oh, wait a minute, Jack ripped his off? We'll get to that. Don't worry. It's the general concepts, but I'll explain how you can compare Samurai Jack with this thing in a much better, simpler way once we get there. We then cut into the samurai, and everyone's trying to recover from the explosion that had occurred, as the samurai is going through Manhattan. And as he does, he comes about this one area where, apparently this nun is running things, and this guy wants her mixer for food, and basically, I'll just put it this way, Manhattan has gone to hell. Royally, I mean. And meanwhile, Cassie is talking with Virgo, trying to figure things out, as Virgo basically explains what happened. The sword was released and was destroyed, releasing a demon and the Ronin. The Ronin possessed Billy, forced to, using magic, was able to force Virgo to make him new limbs, and then she ejected the Ronin into the sewer before blowing it up. Although she does believe that Agat is still out there. But then when Cassie seems to be, now Cassie's been running pretty late, working pretty long hours anyway, but basically, Virgo, when Cassie's trying to say like this, I think she's going nuts, when she contacts someone to check it out, Virgo says, points out, Cassie, you're acting like a computer yourself. One of those old-style ones, not the real kind, but the ones in the movie that short out whenever they face with a new idea. It's the 21st century, Cassie. Try to have an open mind. Then we cut to the Ronin going into this bar full of all these leather-cladded psychos. And first he deals with a couple of them until he gets shot. And then he gets the crap beat out of him by a bunch of these are bikers, basically. As he's crawling his way through, trying to get out of there. And then we see as Cassie's explained a bit more about what happened. And how Virgo tries to explain to him how, the Ronin is probably helpless out there. Unless there was some spillover from Billy's mind, he doesn't know any English. And even reveals that he's a shape changer. We then focus on Taggart, the main guy in charge of all of Aquarius, as he's basically making it very clear that they're operating with the they're trying to make a deal with the Sawa company, trying to make it clear to them, we want to work with them for their resources, but we want to make sure there's no weapons. So we will not show them any weapon. We will not show them what the capabilities of their what their cybernetics are capable of. But then all of a sudden, an Agat shows up, and melts Taggart down, and then takes his form. Yeah. Then Cassie joins up with her men, and even does the whole, "Gentlemen, it's the 21st century. You have to have an open mind." As we then see the guy from earlier trying to talk to get the mixer from the nun, as dragging the samurai away. Then we see McTaggart and Learned are talking, and basically they're explaining things, and it's clear Learned is trying to convince Taggart to that we need to make weapons, and it looks like and Taggart seems to be taking him up on it now. It looks like. Then we see the Ronin has been tied up by that man as he's ready. He feels like he's gonna make a spaceship, making it with warp drive, and he needs the arms. He knows those are cybernetic arms. So what does he do? He cuts the Ronin's arm off, but the Ronin, because it's still cybernetic, controls the arm, strangling the guy before reattaching it to himself. Yeah, we'll get to more about how he's able to do that later. But turns out this guy has some samurai memorabilia. I love this, but when he looks at the helmet, looks away, but puts it away because he's a Ronin, and then finds a sword, a pretty big sword. Then he meets up with the biker gangs and wipes them out. Just takes them all out. Until then this hippie guy shows up and basically like, "Hey, see this flower? I mean no harm, I'm not into that stuff." But he's saying, "We could be a big gig." But then Cassie's men show up and are ready to arrest him. We then cut away, and the next thing we know, 3 of them are dead, and a bunch of them have been chopped up, but are still alive as they tell Cassie what happened. And Cassie, she's determined to bring him in, ending book 2, and she's saying, "All right, men, let's do this." We then we then see how, through little snippets, how the memories from Virgo, how the Ronin took him down, and basically they're trying to make it clear she's basically explaining it all to her, and basically, Cassie's like, as absurd as it is, I can hardly believe I'm saying this. The Ronin arm was only an antique sword, was more than a match for my men, but then also points out how one of the guns just exploded out of the blue. Yeah. And basically they think I go as a highly trained killer. Then she then goes to Taggart and tries to explain we need to stop him and have him brought and killed. To which Taggart's saying, "Yes, you do that." Till Virgo points out that how the Ronin was somehow able to cause one of the guns to explode spontaneously. And then points out how chances are Billy is still in there. Somehow, either the Ronin is using Billy's powers without realizing or whatever, but it's obviously Billy's psychic powers causing it, but somehow able to learn and they could study it from a distance. So she convinces Target, even though it's a Gat now, to let her capture him so we can make much better, better use of studying. To which Target then says, "Go ahead." And you and your men will use tasers to bring him in. As time goes on, we're having the Ronin. He is hallucinating things, as we still talk with the hippie guy. Now, remember when I showed you that view, Scott? And that view, look at it now. Something seems a bit off now. It's repairing itself, yes, but it's not as smooth. It looks like something else is going on. We then see that Cassie's still trying to explain about all this, how she just feels like she's going to disobey Taggart's orders, and basically Virgo explains how Billy had a thing for Cassie, very much so, and basically even points out Billy is like, you can't blame Billy for this, he doesn't know, and basically also saying how the Ronin is frightened, he's a man out of time, and also point out how she's still linked with barely, because she was linked to Billy, she's still somewhat linked to the Ronin. And then also points out how she's due for lunch with her husband. Now, I hope this one doesn't get me flagged. We meet up with these Black Panther group and these neo-Nazis, who are basically they are battling by trying to figure out which one of people from their side are going to scream like little girls when something's going to happen that night. They don't make it clear, but they are just making a bet who's going to scream. Then the hippie guy shows up with the Ronin, and basically they think like, oh, ridiculous, take a hike. And even trying to say like, he don't know any English. Then he mentions a racial slur, nip. To which then the old guy's like, you're making me crazy, Ronin. Your arms change color, you grow fingernails, you learn racial and slurs. And then we meet up with Peter McKenna as they're explaining, she's trying to explain everything to Simp when he says, like, brings up the Ronin. He's like, the what? And the Ronin? I heard about this. You'll get a memo like everyone else tomorrow, right? And basically, she's basically saying, I need to do this. It's for my men's sake. Then, but Peter's able to convince her to, well, they spend the night. They are husband and wife. And, basically, they've been both busy, her especially. Then we're having the show and the Sawa people being shown around as, well, Taggart are to say, I'm sure these people can actually coax me into making weapons for them instead. We also find out that Virgo has been expanding, growing, taking root, repairing at a much faster rate than they ever thought possible. Now again, they're thinking, oh, that's a good thing. Yeah. Then, the Ronin is sent in to meet up with one of the Black Panthers, and basically tells them to assert the N-word. Once he gets in there and he gets knocked out, the Ronin quickly picks up the fact that what it means, and he basically is ready to apologize as he bows. Then the guy is ready to beat him up until the Ronin takes him out, and he feels bad about what he's done. Then, after a nice little night, Cassie and Peter leave, and yeah, they make their dues. As we didn't see the hippie meet up with the head of the Nazi group, neo-Nazi group here, and they're making a deal like, hey, we'll take out and the big guy in the Black Panthers. And at the same time, though, we are cutting back to those guys tied up as something's coming up from them. We don't know what's filling it up, but then they feel something. Not sure, but yeah, and then all of a sudden, but something's grabbing them, and they're saying, oh Lord, they're cold. Next thing we know, something just grabs and consumes those people. Meanwhile, then we see Cassie's heading in, and she makes it clear. Taggart told my men not to use weapons. He never said anything about me. And basically, she's ready to shoot him. Then, we find out Peter, of course, not happy. He made an agreement with Taggart about, no, we're not going to do any of this with weaponry. And Learned is basically saying, like, he's already showing some second thoughts about it, how he's acting. Because you can definitely tell he feels already something's a bit off, this sudden change. And Taggart, well, look what he's wearing. Yeah. Kind of going a little Caligula, isn't he? And he then basically makes a big threat to hold on a second, be right back. I'm back, sorry about that. As I was saying, basically Virgo tries to chew out and Taggart, but then Taggart basically makes it clear, I own you, I can shut this down. To which Virgo lets him through. And then the hippie guy takes the Ronin to meet up with the head of the Black Panthers as, he's trying to cause both of them to fight each other. Sorry, got a phone call that interrupted everything. Anyway, Cassie and her men show up. She shoots the Ronin, but he's able to get back up. Then all of a sudden, then he's on a horse. It's still up in the air what exactly he's doing. But then all of a sudden, though, during the fight, these bikers are about ready. Her men are about ready to hog tie him. And all of a sudden, they explode. Everything starts exploding as he's doing like what he did with the gun, but on a much bigger scale. But unfortunately, that took a lot out of him as Cassie's about ready to shoot him. But then both sides grab her and her men and throw him into that pit that those other people were at. As then the Ronin gets up, kills them all, tosses aside the hippie guy, and then he jumps into the pit after them. Once down there, they're looking around. Cassie, she was stripped naked, but still keeping it rather tastefully. This is before Miller really went into whole, let's jump all naked, ooh, boobies. None of that, not that Miller. This is a Miller who's still trying to keep her like a strong, good woman here. Anyway, yeah, she's been talking with her men, and one of them is like, like, give me your hand. Takes it, like, give me your hand. My hand. Next, we then see that city again. Look how much the technology is, all that mechanical stuff is growing, expanding. Yeah. Things are not looking good in Manhattan. Then, it's a further talking with Learned and Taggart with the men when then McKenna, shows up, chewing them out, basically being all like, basically giving the backstory with everything, saying how we agreed to this because you know what's going to happen. The world is on and on. Okay, because basically it's like, have you forgotten why? Well, my friend, I'll give you a refresher course. Now, Peter's pretty drunk by this point, with whiskey anyway, as he then starts to, hold on a second, explain everything, as he's saying, so concerned over the world's depression, if we become, gentlemen, that we have closed our eyes as to an issue that is far more grave. The planet Earth is dying, gentlemen. The ecosphere is collapsing. Millions have died from malnutrition. So befouled and depleted is our soil. Our water is very nearly undrinkable. Our air all but unbreathable. But biocircuitry may be our salvation, because biocircuitry is alive. It will not rape our planet. It may be the one precious hope for our children, for our species. Basically, we're saying how and that's why Virgo is the way she is. She's learning. She's smart. She can actually think, learn, and expand and improve herself. Again, we've been making that clear already by this point. And basically, Peter, McKenna tells off Taggart. Then Taggart seems like he's collapsing, and he then says, "Don't you remember that weekend in the Hamptons, the three of us, Cassie, you and me, where we conceived Aquarius?" And Taggart even says, "I'll never forget that weekend. But you're sick. You need help." Then he leaves, but then security knocks him out. Of course they did. And then Taggart then shows them they made a whole bunch of ships. Now, Frank's artwork on this, well, I get it's supposed to be biotechnological, but just looks all lumpy. Like, I think that's supposed to be a giant robot. And I guess how else are you going to show that's supposed to be made out of all that stuff we've been seeing grow over the city? But just, again, this looks a little like this is made out of Play-Doh or something, which I guess maybe if it's supposed to be biotechnology, it would make sense. And then the Ronin comes across those creatures that ate those guys the last issue. Cannibals. Bunch of cannibals. And we also find out that Cassie's men are getting eaten by the cannibals in the dark. Although none of them are screaming. I think that they're getting or whatever. But yeah, by the time as the Ronin's fighting his way through, then Cassie's all that's left. And I love all this bit where she's still talking with one of her last men, Johnson, as the Ronin constantly fights. Then it looks like the Ronin is starting to get completely caught up and grabbed and tackled. And then Cassie even asks, like, "Johnson, there's nothing but darkness." And then it looks like Cassie's going to be grabbed. It looks like the samurai's been taken out. And then we can cut to Peter as he's finally asking Virgo, like, they haven't taken away my clearance. Tell me what the hell's going on. So Virgo repeats everything to him, sword and demon, all that stuff. And then Peter says, "I may be drunk, Virgo, but I'm not stupid." And that's the most idiotic story I've ever heard. Then we see Taggart talking over and looking over these robots. As he then asks Gibbons, one of the other officials, saying, like, "How would you like to become a supervisor? Just do us a favor." As we then see McKenna talking with one of his friends, McDonald, who then basically asks, like, "I need to get into a corp, but it's vacuumed. I need your suit." "Okay, I'll give you your suit." And then turns out though Gibbons was sent down to spy and listen in. Yeah. Then we see, of course, Taggart and Agatha just to remind us what's going on, as Learned is then making an announcement saying the deal's pretty much gone through. Everything will be benefiting all with our city. But you then start to see that Learned is now starting to feel like, no, this isn't what I wanted. No. I wanted the weapons to help us out, but not like this. Then Cassie's about to be taken in by the cannibals when the Ronin shows up and fights. Then we see McKenna going through as Virgo's trying to explain and talk him out of all this. We then find out that a message has been released. Turns out McDonald and Gibbons died in a very... Well, here's how Taggart says. An unfortunate accident, a mile beneath the earth, one of the conduits that supplied our complex with natural minerals developed a leak, and for 20 minutes crisis periods threatened to spray molten iron throughout Aquarius. Understructure responding to an alert at 12:30 this morning, maintenance supervisor Arthur McDonald and mechanic Julius Gibbons shut down the conduit, but not before half a ton of molten iron poured free. They were basically saying they were caught in the spill and are dead. And basically made it clear, like, yeah, this was no accident. Then the samurai continues to fight off against the cannibals, just taking them all out. Some very nice artwork and panel layout, like right here. You know, things like that. And then McKenna's finally made his way down there. And he has one of Cassie. Cassie turns out has collected old ancient weapons, actual guns. And he starts shooting at a bunch of Virgo and saying, like, you just lost 9 hours of memory. Show me what happened to Taggart or I'll keep shooting you. Because I should also point out, I didn't mention this earlier. That whole bit about saying how Cassie was there when we agreed on formed Aquarius. Cassie never comes on any of their business meetings. Taggart would know that. But not this person posing as Taggart. So that was Peter McKenna's way of figuring out that ain't him. Somebody killed him or replaced him or brainwashed him. So he wants to know what's up. So that's why he's down there to find out. Then everyone's dead as we see this nice moment between Cassie and the Ronin. Then Virgo showed McKenna the deaths of Taggart and Agate for me. But then McKenna's saying, no, there's no such thing as magic. Microwaves! You cooked him, you bitch! You cooked him! And then you have this thing, and then Agate grabs him and takes him away. Then, well, now we start to get into a little bit of the stuff with Frank Miller. And it's starting to slowly lead up to Cassie, well, kissing the Ronin. No sex yet. Not that yet. Then we see all of a sudden it's snowing. And now the Ronin can talk. And he's trying to talk like how he did in the beginning. Basically explaining, but he's not even really paying much attention to her. She's trying to ask stuff about Virgo and all that. He's saying, we will get you to the castle. We will stop the demon. And eventually it does start to lead to the two having, they do have sex, but again, it actually feels very cinematic. Like if this was a movie, this would be one of those very brief ones, but done very tastefully. Then, look at the city now. That's the exact same shot. Look at it. Look how much Virgo's influence has grown. Then we see Learned has sent a psychiatrist, Sandy, to find out from McKenna what's going on. Sandy's obviously like, Virgo told him to keep his mouth shut. Take it off. I want to talk to him. And we then find out that Target is hold on. Oh yeah, basically, Target, it's still Agate, but they keep calling him Target. It's still, it's furious about all this, but then decides like, let's bring him in. I can, where the Ronin is. Bring my hated enemy in, and they do so. Well, they're saying the robot's out. Then Sandy, again the doctor, has McKenna's hands freed as he then gives himself some silence from Virgo by cutting them off. Then they start to talk and figure things out. And basically saying, at first it seemed like McKenna's saying like, no, none of this is real. But then, it sounds like bullshit. But I saw what happened, but then saying like, yeah, I think it's bullshit too. But then I saw what happened. He come apart. He's real. To which even McKenna says, the story's yeah, he's real, but the story's preposterous. But then he thinks about it, and then he realizes like, wait, Billy. Then we start seeing as all of a sudden Cassie's starting to see things a bit more different. Starting to look more like how it did at the beginning of everything, with in the past. And then we see these creatures show up as the Sam Ronin is ready to go and fight them, and he does so pretty effectively, taking a bunch of them out. And then Cassie all of a sudden gets a samurai outfit, and she starts fighting like a samurai. All of a sudden, an arrow comes out and blows off his arm. Then we find out it was the robots. Then we also see from Sawa, again, remember, Japanese. They're basically talking about it, and they're trying, and to make clear it's not real, you have it be Tagar and Tagar saying, oh, don't worry, that's just a cyborg we had working on it before Virgo was able to perfect the robot. This is just a field test, and McKenna is just there to watch things over, and Cassie's there just to watch things over. But then at one point, when they get a good look at it, one of the Sawa men goes, Ronin, how charming. We appreciate your good humor, Mr. Target. Using the likeness we need. And then Target is probably like, yes, of course. A famous warrior in your history, is he not? Ah, yes, quite famous. Then McKenna keeps talking it over with Sandy. This is basically the point where through McKenna we start to get things spelled out as he's figuring things out. What's really going on here? It's all fake. Every bit of it. And basically we find out that how Billy was telekinetic, his mind. He had incredible powers making up for his lost limbs. And then basically pointed out how Virgo kept him isolated. Maybe she knew more about him than anyone else, knew how powerful he really was. No one else did. And basically how his power is so great. But why keep it a secret? Because even he himself wasn't completely aware of it all. Basically even points out how he's mentally retarded for the most part. And you saw him in the beginning, he was talking pretty coherently, but deep down, he's just a simple boy. I mean, he's not a boy, he's a man, but he's still, simple-minded. As, basically then, Sandy even points out how something traumatized him all those years ago. And basically, and even points out, he had no arms and legs. And then all of a sudden we then start to see as the robot starts shooting off the Ronin's limbs, leaving him, like Billy, completely limbless. And then Virgo even has one of the robots talk to one of them saying, we're going to take care of this. We're not going to hurt you or him. And for a moment, Cassie starts to believe it. Then we flash back to this boy who was torturing Billy, tickling him and doing all this mean, horrible stuff. And Billy's like, please stop, please. And then just a big yell as both Billy and the Ronin, in the past and in the present, just out this big shockwave that destroys the robot and killed his harasser. And then Billy's mom shows up, and at first it's like, has that awful boy been bothering you? I swear, if he is, But then she phones in and sees what happened, and just calls him like, you monster. And she's like, I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. Don't yell at me, Mama. Don't. And then we go back to McKenna and Sandy as they're starting to piece a bit together more. And then they realize that, now he hasn't gotten all the details, but basically how Billy has this hypothetical power, which he doesn't use because of some childhood drama. But the power still exists. And of course, his power is mind over matter, even his own. And that power still exists. And Billy, he'd be unhappy. Armless, legless, he'd have to be and unhappy. And basically saying how Billy would have a rich fantasy life. And where would those fantasies come from? Movies, fairy tales, TV, movies like that. And would they be violent? Yeah, if he was angry enough. And to which McKenna says, angry? He'd be raging. What else? He'd hate everybody. Everybody with older arms and legs, he'd want to take their arms and legs and he'd want to chop them. It's like some kind of sick joke. As McKenna just cracks up laughing. And I would like to point out that McKenna and that Virgo had put through, and McKenna made it, and Peter, some type of thing that's made him more jittery. So he's more hyper and very comes off like he is insane. We then see Learned as he's now having second thoughts. He even talks with his wife and about all this, basically saying like, yeah, something's happened. I want a target to get us into the military supplies. I knew how much the Sawa Corporation could spend. But when I think about the war and what it can mean, and I think that I've helped sell the weapons that, then, and now to the point where then he's basically saying like, I need this job, we need this, don't drag me into this, hun. You go and make whatever decision you're going to make, but don't do it for me. Although then he says, you're no help. He's drunk, so I think he's just telling her off. Then we see they're in a fight. Well, for one, the Ronin reattaches his limbs and he starts fighting, and then things keep going back and forth between fantasy and reality. Until it looks like demons are coming in. It's just more of the robots. That's Cassie is seeing it for what it is. And then Cassie grabs the sword and makes her way into the sewers, leaving the Ronin to be captured. As then, but then it goes on where they make a deal with the Sawas, and basically they're saying, oh, hon, they're saying we agree, and our compliments also on your Ronin device. It seems so nearly human. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd think it was I was back in Tokyo in my youth, watching my favorite television adventure program. 'Cause earlier on, when we saw those flashbacks, Billy was watching TV. But Virgo didn't make him realize that. And because he's so mentally diminished, he thought it was a vision. Nope. TV. All this is a lie. Now, basically, let me put it this way. The Samurai Jack parallels. Basically, Samurai Jack is, what if all the Ronin, samurai, demon stuff in this was real? And on a more network for initially kids, but yeah, basically, what if all that was real? None of this stuff going on with the biotechnology and it being a fabricated lie. No. What if it was real? A real samurai in the future dealing with a demon. That's basically what Samurai Jack is. But anyway, at first it looks like Sandy is, the doctor just feels like he's paranoid. He's a raving paranoid. And then it looks like McKenna's about to be drugged by Cassie. Which leads us into the final issue, as Ronin has been captured and Agate is ready to deal with him. As meanwhile, Cassie is fighting off some of the robots, and she keeps going back and forth as well between fantasy and reality. And but she's still talking with Virgo, who keeps taunting her. And then Cassie starts going through the city as we see how much more thicker it's become. Virgo's control is pretty much, well, look at it. It's pretty much absolute. And then she makes inside, meets up with two of the main members of her squad, and then asks one of the female members for her suit, so that make an excuse to get through, saying she has to use the ladies' room. Of course, then Cassie keeps on walking them by, past the ladies' room, until Virgo realizes, oh, you almost got me there. Then, Cassie's going in for a fight. Then we see Learned meet up, and we find out so many people there in Aquarius are not buying it. The deaths of McDonald and that other guy, meeting Gibbons, of course. Something is just going on. Everything going on with Target. Again, I like this how the people are not mindless drones being all like, yes, sir, we would do everything you say. They're like, no, all these changes doesn't seem right. I smell bullshit. And then Sandy comes over to Learned so they can talk. And at the same time, then we see Agate. He wants to kill the Ronin. Until Virgo, even points out how the Ronin, his mind is elsewhere, unfocused. As Cassie keeps on fighting her way through, until all of a sudden, then the power goes out, completely and utterly. And it turns out it's the Ronin. The Ronin is doing all this. As Agate's like, your magic is greater than it was before. And he's about ready to kill him when Virgo explains, like, please, Mr. Taggart, patience. I have quite enough to deal with right now. Virgo, how do you command me so? Oh, and on. Let's just say you play your part, Mr. Taggart. You reinforce a certain state of mind in our guest. And basically making it very clear, yeah, she's in control of, as we found out before, but making it even more so, yeah, Agate, just another copy, another robot. We then see that but yeah, Billy's responsible for the power outage. As Cassie makes her way back to her place to get more of her own guns, as she meets up with Learned and Sandy. But then Billy and Virgo starts talking with Billy. And basically saying, like, this is your doing. Cassie's scared. And basically saying, you're a bad boy. No, I don't be bad. And didn't you like what you've been doing? Like, yeah, you are so impatient, but I'm not fighting and jumping or anything. Billy, haven't I been good to you? And basically, after she calms him down, power turns on. Cassie makes her way to where Peter is. And basically, Peter tries to explain it all. Basically saying how, yeah, she's got something special planned for me. I don't know what it is, but you gotta break fantasy. You gotta duck. As then a blast goes off. Cassie destroys the gun, but then Peter shot dead. And then you still see it be Billy's like, what are you doing, Virgo? Cassie's sad. I want her, and she's just being naughty. And Cassie's been naughty. Just don't make her sad. As, hold on. We have more and more power basically keeps on reactivating as time goes on, as they keep talking. And then, but then one of the robots grabs Cassie, but then Billy's all like, you said you wouldn't hurt her, and go to sleep. No, I won't let you, I won't. As he then destroys the robot. And then, again, Virgo just keeps taunting Billy, saying, you're proud of yourself. I guess. No, you are proud of yourself, you bad boy. Basically, and oh yeah, everyone said, Virgo and Mama? No, Virgo. No, you may call me Mama. Then, yeah, Lerner decides, like, I'm going to go see what's going on with this. And then Agate retakes the form of Target to leave. And then Billy just keeps on, Cassie keeps on fighting her way through, using her own gun, shooting it. And again, how is it her guns work so good on Aquarius stuff, Virgo? I mean, they're just antiques, right? Yes, Billy. So how come? Perhaps I'm playing more fairly than you give me credit for. Maybe. And maybe it's just because you're plastic. Maybe she's using those old guns because she knows you can't control anything not made here. Maybe you're really trying to kill her for real. Now, Billy, have a little faith. As he keeps on making her way through, and, where's she going? What's she trying to do? You're getting excited, Billy. That's not good for you. But I just want to know. It's a long story, Billy. And go to sleep. I'm not doing anything, just like I promised. So what's up? And he's about ready to explode until she calms him down. Then we finally meets up with Peter again. Peter is now taken over by all of this, all of his, the biotechnology, and basically he explains what she's doing. Biocircuitry, basically explains it. Biocircuitry is alive in a way, but not alive enough for her. Not enough like plants. Can't move or think. Something in Billy's mind, his power. It teaches it to animate. She had to activate Billy's latent power, but keep it under control. Hence the Ronin fantasy. She's brought it on, manipulated him into it, and so, by gratifying him with violent power, and with Cassie, since he's had a thing for her, he's releasing it, but still keeping it in check. And because of that, she's been able to learn and apply it to her robots and to him. She wants to make biocircuitry the new dominant life form on Earth. And what she's learning from Billy about the higher function of the brain, psionics, she can make it happen. Cassie then has no choice but to kill Peter because he's about ready to kill her. Then Cassie's making her way down to Virgo's core. Then we have Target trying to make a statement till Lerner comes in and basically saying like this is over. Until then, Virgo calls Target back, and then Lerner's basically by trying to say there's a hazard charge building in the main banks as Target leaves. And then Lerner decides to use this opportunity saying, is this life threatening? Yes, it is. They call for an evacuation as they all leave. And then Cassie makes her way to where the Ronin is, and then Agate shows up ready to kill her. and she's about ready to use the sword, but then she realizes Peter said it is all bullshit, and she pulls out her gun that she still has and shoots Agate's head right off. And then just keeps on and shoots at the restraints, releasing the Ronin. As we then see everyone else fly away from the city. A little bit was learned, just feeling like, for the first time, I feel like we'll find our way. And like maybe the whole world will. Then Cassie also realizes it's gotta hurt for Billy to break it. So she then does this, reveals that the creature that killed your master is dead. And a woman did it for you. And then she plays up, he's like, my love, how dare you? Because there's no honor in this. He didn't do it. Someone took the honor from him, and it was a woman no less. Going again by ancient times. And then basically said, does what he tried to do back at the graveyard. Commit seppuku. And she says, I will be your second. That much you've earned. And then, because this is part of the fantasy, he starts to stab himself. And Billy's like, it hurts. Because remember, that's still his body. Oh God, it hurts. And basically he's trying to get her to stop him like before when we got beat up on those motorcycles. Oh God, I took care of things then. And you were bad then, Billy. Go to sleep. It hurts. As he keeps on doing more of the seppuku, going by completely perfectly. As again, Billy keeps on saying like, can't stand it, Mama. Why? Why'd you do this? And then he says, turn the blade up towards your heart. All your fault, Mama. Said I was bad. Don't deserve. You are bad, Billy. As Virgo just keeps taunting him. And if I like, shut up. Shut up. And then everything starts to blow. Swords out, knocked out of Cassie's hand. Ronin holds on to it and says, shut up, Mama. Very whisper. And all of a sudden, everything just explodes. As everything just blows the hell up. Hold on. We don't even know how many of those people were able to make it away in time before everything blew. But everyone else that's still in the city, gone. And then we see as everything's starting to realign itself. Cassie then is the one survivor until there's a big flash of light. And then, hold on, the Ronin is standing there before her. And that's it. I really don't get that ending at all. I mean, I get it. I get it up until that last page because it feels like Virgo blew up, and Billy blew up Virgo using all of his powers, took her with him, and then we just see the Ronin show up. Billy, I'm pretty sure, is dead. Cassie somehow survived everything, and then there's that look on him and on the Ronin's face, and also all the biocircuitry is gone, meaning Earth is pretty much, as Peter put it, their last chance of salvation is gone. So, yeah, what else? It's going. We don't know anything about any resolution. It just feel like a pat ending, and you're like, what just happened? And Frank never continued on. That was the end. And I mean, it wraps everything up, but that last moment just like a big what the fuck. But overall, this is great. Frank, you had a strong female lead. You had a nice stuff and great action. Everything going on. You think you know what's going on until then you get swerves that still make a lot of sense within the universe, the world setup and all this. The artwork is very good. And again, this is Frank without an inker, without Klaus Janson to ink him. And as you saw some of that artwork, with the coloring by Lynn Valerie, that was just the old traditional coloring, not the uber color. Hold on. Let me give an example of what I mean. It wasn't like this. Well, okay, maybe not a good idea. It wasn't like this. Although then again, Frank, I think, also really got lazy with his artwork. But you still see some of the parallels between it. But that coloring really did not help at all. But then when you look at the coloring on this, it's nice, simple, not as bright, and very good. Very well handled, really works with Frank's style. He's able to make up for his lack of inks. And, yeah. Again, very good. It's awesome Frank Miller. One of his best, if you ask me. And we wouldn't have had Samurai Jack without it, I'm pretty sure. So, that's all I gotta say. Tomorrow, not sure if I will do the next story. in this next story spotlight, or if I'll do a review, but a regular review. But I'll figure out tomorrow. Till then, catch y'all later.